Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
Today we're looking at a great list of vocabulary and idioms that actually came from a recent SpeakDuo lesson.
That's right. And for our listeners, if you want to use this vocabulary right away, you can go to SpeakDuo.com. You can meet people from all over the world, practice on video calls, and really boost your speaking confidence.
But for now, let's get straight into it. This is all about high-level vocabulary, and we're starting with an idiom about consequence, a price to pay.
Okay, so the basic meaning is pretty clear, right? Negative consequences, suffering.
Exactly, but the nuance, the part advanced learners sometimes mix up, is how it compares to the phrase a necessary evil.
That's a crucial distinction. It really comes down to timing, doesn't it?
It's all about the timing. A price to pay is the negative thing you have to endure after you've already made a choice.
Right, so the weakness here is using it for the action itself. That's where a necessary evil comes in.
Precisely. A necessary evil is the unpleasant action you have to perform to get a good result.
So, in a work context, you might say?
Well, you could say, if we adopt this aggressive market strategy, the short-term price to pay will be significant layoffs. The layoffs are the consequence you endure.
That's a sharp example. And for something like a speaking exam, you could talk about ambition.
How so?
Achieving that high level of success meant there was a heavy price to pay in terms of sacrificing time with his family. The sacrifice is the result.
Spot on. Okay, moving on from consequences to something a bit more supernatural.
Second sight.
Yes, the ability to see things hidden from our normal senses. Future events, hidden truths, that kind of thing.
And the common confusion here is with hindsight.
Right.
The mistake is using second sight to talk about the past.
Because hindsight is the clarity you get after everything has already happened. It's 20/20, as they say.
Exactly. Second sight is predictive. It's almost magical. So the suggestion is to use it to emphasize that intuitive, forward-looking quality.
So for a work example, you could praise a colleague's foresight.
You could. Something like, our CFO predicted that market pivot 3 months ago. It felt like she had a kind of second sight when forecasting profits.
That works really well. It gives that sense of almost impossible insight. And you could use it in a more classic context too, like an investigation. The detective's intuition felt like second sight when solving those cold cases. It's more than just good observation.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. To aesthetics, monochrome.
This seems simple, using just one color, or, black, white, and shades of gray.
It is, but the confusion is with the word minimalist.
People use them interchangeably, but they shouldn't. Minimalism is a whole design philosophy. It's about simplicity, reduction. A minimalist room could be bright blue and yellow.
Whereas monochrome is purely a rule about color.
Exactly. It's a technical constraint. So our suggestion is to use it only when you're talking specifically about that color limitation.
In a design brief, you might say, for the branding, we're switching to a stark, monochrome palette, black, white, silver, to convey professionalism.
And in a speaking context, you can link it to focus.
Right. When I'm reviewing architectural drawings, a monochrome layout helps me focus on the structure rather than getting distracted by color.
Perfect. Now on to a word for a type of person. Overbearing.
Oof. We've all met one.
Excessively controlling, dominating.
Yes, and the key is that it's always negative. The mistake is confusing overbearing with authoritative.
Which can be a good thing. An authoritative person commands respect through knowledge.
Exactly. An overbearing person just stifles everyone around them. So you should reserve the word for that really detrimental, toxic behavior.
For example, the team leader was so overbearing that nobody felt comfortable suggesting new ideas.
It creates a bottleneck. And if you had to manage someone like that, you could say, I managed my overbearing colleague by setting very clear boundaries and documenting every decision to limit their influence.
Shows you have to be assertive to deal with it. Okay, next up is a great verb phrase, to reek of something.
It sounds strong, and it is. It means to strongly suggest a really undesirable quality.
And the mistake some speakers make is confusing it with to hint at.
They're opposites in terms of intensity. Hinting is subtle.
But if something reeks of a quality, it's like a bad smell. You can't ignore it. It's immediately obvious and negative.
So you should only use it when that negative quality is overwhelming.
Yes, like The entire proposal was so disorganized, it seemed to reek of unprofessionalism and rushing.
It's also fantastic for talking about someone putting on a false front.
Oh yeah, like false confidence.
Exactly. His supposed confidence was undermined by a shaky voice, and the whole performance started to reek of insecurity.
It's palpable. Okay, number 6 is to grasp.
Meaning to fully, deeply understand something complex.
And the nuanced distinction here is with the phrase to catch on.
Catching on is quicker, right? You catch on to a joke or a trend.
Right, it doesn't imply the same level of deep intellectual effort. So our suggestion is to say to grasp for things that really require study and concentration.
Like, it took her a week of intense study to grasp the principles of differential equations.
And you can use it to talk about how you learn. I find it much easier to grasp abstract concepts when they're explained visually with diagrams.
It highlights that the concept is difficult to begin with. Okay, next, an investigative phrase, to excavate the truth.
Love this one. It's so visual. You're digging for a hidden fact.
And it's much more powerful than just saying, to discover the facts.
Much more. Discovering can be simple. Excavating implies a difficult, painstaking process. You're digging through layers of lies or confusion.
So you use it when you want to emphasize that difficulty?
Think of journalists. They spent months interviewing sources to excavate the truth about the scandal.
And it's so relevant for the digital age, too.
Absolutely. I cross-reference multiple reputable sources to excavate the truth from all the conflicting online rumors.
Excellent. Okay, our last one is another great metaphor. The crack in one's armor.
This refers to that one specific vulnerability in someone who otherwise seems very strong or confident.
And just calling it a flaw really doesn't do it justice, does it?
Not at all. A flaw is general. The crack in one's armor is the specific thing that gives away the internal struggle behind a strong facade.
So the key is that contrast. Outward strength, hidden weakness.
Exactly. You could say, the CEO seemed completely confident, but his hesitation when discussing the company's debt was the crack in his armor.
That single moment of hesitation. It's very powerful.
And it's great for self-assessment, too. You could say, my tendency to speak too quickly is usually the crack in my armor that shows I'm nervous when presenting to clients.
It's that one telltale sign. Okay, I think it's time for our quiz.
All right, let's test how well everyone has been listening. We'll repeat the key phrase a few times to help it stick.
Question 1. When someone makes a reckless decision, what is usually a price to pay in the short term?
Okay, is it option A, an unexpected financial reward? Option B, negative consequences such as a loss of trust from friends or colleagues that must be accepted? Or option C, an initial surge of excitement?
Feel free to pause the critique here if you need a moment to think about the answer.
And the correct answer is B. Remember, a price to pay is that negative consequence you have to endure, like losing trust.
Okay, question 2. If you had second sight for one day, would you use it to predict the future or to uncover secrets from the past?
Option A. I would use this supernatural ability to see future risks so I could easily prepare for and effectively avoid them. Option B. I would utilize the advanced sensory perception to analyze data from the present. Or option C. I would develop an extraordinarily improved ability to detect very faint physical stimuli.
Take a moment to think. You can pause here if you need to.
The answer is A. Second sight is all about that supernatural predictive ability to see future risks.
Exactly. Moving to question 3. Do you prefer to decorate your workspace in a single, monochrome color palette or with many bright colors?
Is it A, I prefer a palette with many colors to stimulate creativity? B, I prefer only using primary colors? Or C, I prefer a simple palette, like white and gray, using variations of only one color to focus without distraction?
Feel free to pause the critique here to consider your answer.
The correct one is C. A monochrome palette, as we discussed, uses variations of just one color to help you focus.
Right. Question 4. Have you ever worked on a project with an overbearing person, and how did you manage the situation?
Okay, your options are A. I avoided conflict by simply letting the dominating colleague impose their will. B. I managed the excessively controlling person by preparing my arguments with facts and presenting them assertively. Or C. I manage the arrogant individual by consistently mirroring their aggressive communication style.
You can pause here if you need a second to decide.
The answer is B. To manage an overbearing or excessively controlling person, you need to be prepared and assertive.
Makes sense. Question 5. When someone is pretending to be confident, what subtle behavior might make them reek of insecurity?
Is it A? They might strongly suggest an undesirable quality by demonstrating poor hygiene. B. They might strongly suggest this by speaking too loudly or consistently avoiding direct eye contact. Or C. They might unintentionally emit a strong, unpleasant physical odor.
Go ahead and pause the critique if you'd like to think it over.
The answer here is B. To reek of insecurity means to strongly suggest it through obvious behaviors, like speaking too loudly or avoiding eye contact.
Perfect. Question 6. Do you find it easier to grasp concepts when they are explained visually or through written text?
Option A. I find it easier to fully understand when I use intense studying and complex mathematical equations. Option B. I find it easier to fully understand a concept when it is visually explained with diagrams. Or option C. I find it much easier to hold and physically manipulate a concept.
Feel free to pause here if you need a moment.
And the answer is B. To grasp a concept means to fully understand it, and visuals like diagrams often make that easier.
All right, almost there. Question 7. What methods do you use when you try to excavate the truth from conflicting reports or rumors online?
Is it A, I focus solely on the most popular report? B, I compare the information to see if it is consistent across unreliable online blogs? Or C, I cross-reference the information with multiple reputable sources to uncover or reveal the hidden fact?
You can pause the critique here to think about the best method.
The correct answer is C. Remember, to excavate the truth is a difficult process that requires careful work, like cross-referencing reputable sources.
Last one, question 8. When you are trying to be professional, what is often the crack in your armor that reveals your nervousness?
Option A. My tendency to speak too quickly is usually the crack in my armor that shows I'm nervous. Option B. My inability to produce a comprehensive PowerPoint presentation. Or option C. My dedication to always bringing high-quality coffee for my colleagues.
Feel free to pause one last time if you need to.
The correct answer is A. The crack in one's armor is that specific vulnerability, like speaking too quickly, that reveals your nervousness despite a professional exterior.
And that wraps up our critique. We covered 8 really powerful phrases today. A price to pay, second sight, monochrome,
Overbearing, to reek of insecurity, to grasp, to excavate the truth, and the crack in one's armor.
Remember, using these advanced phrases is all about understanding the subtle differences in meaning and intensity.
Absolutely. We really encourage you to try and work these into your conversations. That's how you'll truly develop fluency.
And if you have any material you'd like us to look at, please send it in. We love providing this kind of targeted feedback. And don't forget to visit SpeakDuo.com to find a partner to practice with.